Alright, y'all, let me say this. Y'all. You would have to be some type of idiot, stupid, delusional, Down syndrome, no brain having type person to believe your life is based off a book. Like, you mean to tell me that I have my own brain and I'm capable of thinking and using my thoughts and make a decision, even if it's good or bad. I have control of that. You don't have control of what's come out that book, because the information you get out that book came out of somebody else's brain / thoughts. So you telling me that you going off somebody else's thoughts other than yours, and that's supposed to be your life, and you going by that book, and that book's supposed to be your life, in which you can see every day you wake up, you can see shit happening in real time in your face, and you can't use your discernment / judgment off that, but you would use off a book, a piece of paper with some ink on it, and you tell me I'm crazy because I don't want to believe that shit, because I use my own critical thinking. I gotta be crazy because a Bible is more credible than my thoughts? Man, y'all people is some serious, man. They have done some serious work on you guys, for the ones that does that. And I'm not fucking, I am pointing the finger. You Hebrew Israelites, y'all are worse than the Christians, because you gotta force something on somebody. Me, I'm not forcing that everybody. Well, I know that majority of the people that look like me in America, we are indigenous peoples. I know that. But I ain't going around telling motherfuckers, man, you indigenous. I don't give a fuck no more. I don't worry about me. And the people rock with me. They're on the same wavelength as me. I'm not going around telling motherfuckers they all going to hell because they don't believe in Yahshua. Who the fuck? What type of shit is that? You Hebrew Israelites, you guys need to get it together with them fucking gold shirt, with them purple shirts on, and stand on a corner of every major city harassing people, telling people they're gonna go to hell if they don't believe in the Bible. Make that shit make sense. This shit is number fucking words, like I'm speaking words out my mouth. That's all it is on paper. I don't believe in that shit. That shit's some garbage, some trash. And y'all are doing the Caucasians work for them. Like I say, you know better than a Christian. Y'all go around and do the same shit. Because a Christian tell you don't believe in Jesus or God, you're going to hell. You say, if I don't believe in Yahshua, I go to hell. Motherfucker, we already in hell. Don't you know that? Earth is hell. And heaven and hell is a state of mind. So how we gonna go somewhere we already at? Make that shit make sense. But hey, I'm not forcing that on nobody. That's what I think. If you believe that, you can believe that. If you don't, you don't. Who am I to say, hey, believe me? You don't have to believe shit I say. But if you resonate with it, and then if it touches your soul, because I'm a person that touches people's soul with my magnificent voice. Maybe some I do, maybe some I don't, but I know I touch some. rock with it. But to you motherfucking Hebrew Israelites, stop with all the buffoonery, man. Just get the fuck, get y'all get your ass out of here, man.
We are back with another video.
Shalom, shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto YAHAWAH, Hashem, Yahawashi, Hashem, or Kwab Kodash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. And shalom to us, mighty Akim Wakwavi, who are diligently waiting to be delivered from this found captivity, as well as the speckled bird that may look like the other nations, but are actually Yasharala. This is where the Kawa coming at you with no lesson. Today's lesson is going to be on this. I think that, and I've said this multiple times before. I didn't even realize how many times I've said this, but this type of like videos that people make, it is extremely dishonest, as well as ill-informed, mind you. I think that is a very big key thing to mention. And finally, it's I forgot the word I was using because I was explaining. It was ill-informed, dishonest. Did I say dishonest? And then it's just accusatory. Accusatory just for the sake of, basically accusing, because a lot of times, or I'll say most times, like people, they've just gotten used to Christian, not just Christianity, because Christianity does face criticisms, but I kind of want to say Edomite Christianity more specifically. And when I say Edomite Christianity, I don't mean just Christianity in general, or the Christianity that Esau made, but I mean more so hyper specifically Edomite Christians. I think people there's been an uprising in people kind of wanting to attack us as a result, because we as Israelites, we verbally, not necessarily verbally, we attack the core of the principles of not just Christianity, of course, at its core, but also Israelite philosophies, mind you, or Israelite behavior. Because I think that's a very big thing where what happens is that we tell our people, hey, women are not supposed to do this, men are not supposed to do this, people are not supposed to do this. Because if you think and look at all the stuff that we're doing, our people lack discipline. And following after Yahawadah is about nothing but discipline. All right. Hence the fixation on discipline, and then the need for being able to restrict and restrain your urges in literally whatever you do. And your urges can literally be as simple and as stupid, mind you, if you want to use that term, as, oh, even though I love pork so much, I'm just not going to eat it because Yahawadah doesn't want me to. It's literally that simple. It's literally that easy to display discipline to demonstrate your love for Yahawadah. Like the funny thing about that is that people tend to trivialize just how simplistic obedience to Yahawadah is, where literally there's just stuff that you can just do where it's just like, okay, well, instead of going and get a bacon double cheeseburger or whatever the frick, you can just get a turkey bacon double cheeseburger and stuff like that. It's literally, it is oftentimes that simple, all right? Where even being an Israelite, all it is, because obviously, there are certain things that we are limited on. Like, for example, the Sabbath. Some people are able to keep the Sabbath Some people are not able to keep the Sabbath all the way through. And hold on one second. Some people are not able to keep the Sabbath all the way through. Some people have to. Some people have to rely on. Some people have to rely on. The grace period that we've been given by Yahawadah, where if you do end up working on Sabbath or buying or whatever on the Sabbath, then I will usually trust that Yahawadah is going to forgive you for your inability to keep the laws all the way at 100% sloppy. So with this, again, going back to this guy, he's over here basically saying that people are so dumb for believing in Yahweh. People are so stupid, this, that, and the third, and whatever. Has all the criticisms in the world to talk about us, and but you again, if you really think about it, all right, we're telling our people, and even with other camps, all right, camps. Oh my fucking god! Even with other camps where um even with other camps where they're not keeping the Slaki not keeping Slaki, bear with me one moment, give me 1 second so I can freaking finish this. Okay, Slaki, now, as I was saying, I forgot what I was saying. Basically, with this guy, he was basically complaining, saying that, or well, as his caption says, that we're no better than the Christians with the foolish with basically our talk. And the thing about us is that we're telling our people, stop with the drugs, stop with the shooting, killing, gang violence, and all that stuff. Stop with all these other different stuff. Even with other camps that are not like-minded or whatever, their main goal is still it's like their main goal is still getting our people to be in some sort of order despite not being all in agreement. But the main thing is definitely epitomizing a life that is not grounded in some sort of gang violence, but in some sort of order. Although it might not be the best, or it might not be the most ideal, but it's still some sort of order. All right, I'll just at the bare minimum say that I won't get too into detail because I don't know how all their stuff goes. But I will say that I think we can. Or I guess I'll ask: is it not better for our people to have some semblance of order rather than going and living some sort of terrible life in terms of prostitution, gang violence, hurting people, being a criminal, robbing and stealing, and all this different type of stuff, where there are people that are attempting to, guide and guide our people in some way, shape, or fashion. All right. Now, and again, I'm not saying that all camps are good, because not all camps, follow after what Yahawadah wants, but I will definitely say that in the general concept of order, that is definitely something to take note of and to think about. All right. So, um, so continuing on, let me get this some precepts. First Peter chapter 5 verse 2, feed the flock of Yahweh which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint but willingly, not by filthy lucre but of the ready mind. Basically over here, Romans chapter 14 verse 5, one man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. And this is another thing where, for when it comes to belief in Yahweh, you should not be you should not be doing stuff because someone forced you. You should not be following after Yahweh because someone forced you. You should not be practicing anything because someone forced you. If you want, then you should do that. And anyone that is forcing, that's when you at times you just really have to kind of like examine things on your own. I guess that if you really don't believe it, then it's like, well, then just don't follow after the law, statute, commandments don't follow after what Yahawadah wants, because that's just not going to save you. All right, you're not going to get into the kingdom being lukewarm or following after someone else. All right, especially if you don't actually believe. All right, so again, just in terms of this whole um, uh, being forced into that, I genuinely don't think that uh, a lot of people, because even when it comes to, because the thing is, a lot of these camps, all right, a lot of camps, they when they speak to people, they literally are talking, in front of the thing, the cameras on and all that stuff. So I'll admit, yeah, maybe it might seem like a bit of coercion, especially when it comes to, trying to provoke certain people that say, oh yeah, I definitely want to please Yahweh, I just want to please God, and whatnot. I definitely want to please God, and whatnot, but ultimately, for people to go in and find that stuff out, I definitely do believe, because no one is like threatening anyone's life when saying that, oh, if you don't come over here, we're gonna put a gun to your head and all that stuff. I think that is definitely just, especially with all the people that's left, no one has ever even said that type of stuff. All right, and with how long it's been, someone would have, reported that type of stuff. So this whole, being forced to do this type of stuff, it really isn't. I mean, of course, maybe pressured. I'll say pressured. I'll admit to that, sure. But ultimately, um, I think it's kind of whatever. Let's just stick to pressured. I'll just say, yeah, maybe some people might be pressured, but even then, um, what I would say is that if someone doesn't want to be there, if you don't want to be there, if you don't want to be a part of anything, then you really just should um, take things seriously and just remove yourself from the situation. I think there's no better way to handle said situation besides just being mature and just saying, okay, you know what, I don't want to be a part of this. I thought it was cool. I thought I needed it, whatnot. But you know what, I'm just gonna leave. But for the people that do stay there, then that's just for you. Where you actually have to understand that while things might seem like, oh yeah, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do this or that or whatever, and you feel like someone's um, pressuring you or has a lot of expectations for you. Sometimes it's not just about being forced; it's about wanting you to do better. And I think that is where people mix up being forced to do certain things rather than being provoked to doing the right thing, being told that you have these expectations, obligations, do this, like this is the right thing you have to do. It's like you have to stop wasting your money on alcohol or whatever the frick, because you have bad habits. We all have bad habits, and there are genuinely people that are trying to help. There are genuinely people that are trying to help. So you actually have to, put in the effort to help, or not help, but to do the right thing for not just yourself, but for your community or whatever. All right, whatever you are expected to do, you gotta be responsible in doing it. All right, so slocky about that, being long-winded, but I do. I'm not gonna pretend like there's nothing. I'm not gonna pretend like, oh yeah, everything is fine and whatnot. There are definitely camps that might be a bit more different, or it might be different compared to others, but ultimately the decision is yours, and it's up to you to say, hey, you know what, I don't want to do this, or I'm going to do this, and I want to do better, and I'm trying to be better and do better, not just for the sake of pleasing someone else, but for the sake of, staying right with Yahweh and Shah. These are the important things to remember. All right, so Slocky, let's continue on. Oh yeah, Slocky. That was one section. The next section over here, Deuteronomy 28, verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, still thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy power, keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee this day. Basically, the thing here is how Yahawadah warned us. He warned us about how to live and doing all these different stuff. But yet, so many people, they completely ignore the prophecies. Like the Lord literally set us up for us to be in this captivity and to be suffering as we are, and we as Israelites, we see, okay, these signs are like very oddly um fitting for us and our situation. So like this is really something that, like, what does it, or what, I don't know how to properly phrase it, but basically, like, how is it that something that is so hyper specific and fitting towards us, how is this the thing? All right, and let's get that. Romans 13, verse 11, and that, knowing the time that now it is high time to wake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than we believe. Which basically, that's the thing where Yahweh set everything up for us to be able to wake up onto returning as Israelites to Him. All right, and that's basically what we're seeing. Where, for example, just one example, because I don't want to go through all of it, but Deuteronomy 20, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondman and bondwoman, and no man shall buy you. Basically, the exact same way that the Lord said that we're going to go into captivity through ships. Okay, and by the way, um, by the way, if you didn't know, there are some depths. When it says ships going into slavery with ships, you have to understand that this is a prophecy that applies not just to the so-called black people, but to different nations. If you, I will admit, hold on, let me say right quick, I will admit that trying to find history on different countries is a little bit hard. I'm saying this from experience because I was trying to find some history on some other countries, and I was having a hard time only learning through gaps of information. Only learning gaps of information. Learning, like, oh wait, where the frick? What happened here? What led up to this? What was all the in between information that was happening? So I was suffering in that regard. It's like I have to. The thing that I felt when I was searching up the information, I felt like I had to live in, let's say, for example, China, or I need to be in China in order to learn all about Chinese history, or I need to be in Europe in order to know more about European history and stuff like that. Where even when it comes to like certain articles, like they don't give the full context. They don't give the full information. They only give what they think you need to know, or the generality of what you think that you're, or what they think that you, or what they think that you want to know, the generality rather than the actual intricate details and the things that lead up to it. So, say for example, if you know about American history, they will say, "Oh, America got their independence on XYZ year," but instead they don't give you the details of, oh, they took this boat that did this, they hurt all the people that was there, they X, Y, and Z, this and the third and whatnot. That was basically what was going on. Where I did do a bit of research where I was able to collect a bit more of the stuff and of the information, but it still kind of feels incomplete because I still don't know from I still don't know the information that I wanted to know from Japan, which, by the way, that's basically what that is what that's what I was talking. That was what I was leading up to say. Where similar to the Native Americans, all right, which I don't even think that a lot of people know that, because with the Native Americans, and I believe also the South Americans, South Americans. Basically, what happened there was they also were taken in ships to I think helped lead the Europeans back into Europe because the Europeans didn't really know or have a sense of direction. On top of that, a similar thing that happened was in Slovakia for divide the changing. I'll end it off with this. Basically, that's everything that happened to the Native Americans in America. It happened onto the Ainu. The thing it was even when I was making when I was reading the stuff, they said that the people researching it said, not me, they said that it was so strange how prior to any interaction that the Japanese had with the Americans, they basically copied all their methods of treating the Ainu the exact same way that the Americans have treated the Native Americans. So that was just a quick history lesson. Slocky, I wanted to add that in. I always add that in. If you want to learn more on that, definitely go check my playlist on Ainu or Israelites. It's on my channel and whatnot. Anyway, going back into the thing over here, how is it that no, actually no, it's very fitting that I mentioned that because how is it that number one, the things that happen to us as Israelites happen to ha- the things that happen to so-called black people, things that happen to so-called Native Americans, all right, it fits the biblical prophecy, and then on top of that, all right, it also fits a whole separate group of people in a whole separate nation by other different people. All right, like how is it that something so specific, hyper specific, okay, which even the historians that had done the research, they even mentioned it themselves that it is so strange and abnormal that the Ainu had suffered the exact same way that the Native Americans faced. Which, by the way, to a bit of an addition, what happened with the Native Americans was that they had taken the kids, the children, and they had fucking Edomite families adopt them to assimilate them into their families. On top of that, all right, they had punished them, basically beat them or whatever, whenever they had speak their own language. Now, in in more addition to that, all right, that exact same thing that happened also onto the Ainus. So how is it that something so specific happened to two different people in two completely different parts of the world, but yet we're still at this point where people are saying that it is so dumb, it is so ridiculous, it's so X, Y, and Z, or whatever. But you got this dude, you got this chick that is saying that people are believing a book, people are believing this, people are believing that, whatever, and stuff like that, as if it's dumb. But how is it that something so specific happens to two different groups of people in two different parts of the world without the people, the Edomites and the Moabites, or not Moabites, Ammonites, like here, having interacted with each other to say, oh, let's share torture methods, let's share subjugation methods and stuff like that. They didn't do any of that stuff. The historians literally said in the thing that I forgot what year it was at. They basically said that prior to any interaction that the Japanese had with the Europeans, they were already treating the Ainu exactly like the Native Americans were treated by the Europeans. So again, how are we just coming to this strange, abnormal, weird conclusion of the book isn't anything, the book is this, the book is that, whatever, when it's so crazy how the book literally prophesied everything and then everything just happened. All right, everything happened to two different people. And by the way, I say that to say that again, the so-called Native Americans are Israelites. Two, a lot of South Americans are Israelites, and three, the Ainu are also Israelites. All right, I believe they are definitely Israelites because it is impossible, and I mean impossible, that they went through all the exact same stuff, and even now they're facing oppression. They're treated like shit. They're like moving about. I think they're mostly in Hokkaido. All right, and they have what's that called? What's that thing called? Because I remember seeing this one politician chick in Japan basically calling them, just insulting them basically. All right, it's like how do you have something like this where they're so openly racist to their people as if the exact same way people are Edomites treat us, all right, and then yet they're not Israelites, all right. Like this is how we know that the scriptures are in fact real, especially this is how we know that the prophecies fit us and this is how we determine who is an Israelite and who isn't, all right, because also the Native Americans are Israelites as well, not just us so-called blacks. Jeremiah 10 verse 2, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way that heathen and be not dismayed at them, at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Basically, when stuff goes to hell, then that's when we're going to see, like, okay, well, we were right with number one. And number two, all that not doubt, what's it called? That denial, all right, is going to be these people's downfalls. So with that, I pray this is that upon. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto YAHAWAH and His, Shem, double honors to the elders and apostles, great most son of God, Shalom.